Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Hard Claim with Viva Sam. I'm Sam, and this is a show where we talk to people who play Blood on the Clocktower and get their player perspective of the game. And joining us this week is Josh. Thanks for joining.
No problem. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me. I love Clocktower, so I'm happy to be here and talk about my favorite game in the world. So
Well, that's what we want to hear. And yes. Josh has been playing at least in my group and the people we've been playing with for quite some time now. How long has it been? Do you know?
I think it's been about 2 years. Yeah, I got introduced to Clocktower around April of 2022.
Well, we'll get more into that.
yeah, I'm happy to share.
But we do like to open with our hard claim question. So you've chosen Trouble Brewing, and as per usual, when you're in my games, you drew a red token. You are the imp.
Love it.
So let's say it's night one. You're the imp. I would point to seat 4 and seat 11 as your minions, in case you wanted to talk to them later. Your 3 not in play characters are Chef, Slayer, and Butler. So, with that said, if we were talking on day 1, what would you hard claim? Or what would you claim? Doesn't have to be a hard claim, but...
usually on the first day, whether I'm good or evil, I like to at least kind of hard claim to 1 or 2 people and then give a 2 of my actual role. Obviously, I'm not going to tell someone I'm the imp. I might do that just for the memes. Maybe, fall back onto a recluse bluff if need be. But out of Chef, Slayer, and Butler, I probably would take Slayer. I kind of like the role where I can talk to other people, kind of get a feel, information, and then shoot my shot. If I have a Scarlet Woman, it's pretty easy. I don't really like bluffing outsiders as much unless it's Saint. I feel like with Butler, a town kind of wants to rule out outsiders if they don't think it's a Baron game. So not really a big fan of Butler. Chef could work. But out of the 3, I probably would take Slayer. So yeah, I probably would tell you I'm the Slayer and try and get a feel. And then other people I might lie to or tell the truth.
Yeah, the truth.
The truth.
Right.
I'm really the good team, but...
Yeah. I feel like it depends a bit too on the group's meta. We, at least in our group, I think we've long moved past the meta of, oh, you're a top 4, let's kill you. I mean, sometimes it's might be a good idea, but many groups just have an automatic, oh, you're top 4, let's kill you. You're an outsider, let's kill you. And when you move past that meta, I think it does make it at least a little easier to try some of those other bluffs. And some like doing it, some don't.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So. Next question, something you'd already started on. When and how did you discover Blood on the Clocktower?
So I was introduced to Clocktower in April of 2022, but my story of getting introduced goes back to 2019. So I had a friend who was dating a girl, and it was a Wednesday night, and he's like, hey, I want you to come to this bar, they do board games. And I was like, no, it's Wednesday night, it's Survivor night. Like, I can't miss Survivor. I'm a huge Survivor junkie. And he's like, no, just go, it'll be fun. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'll go. Survivor's recorded. I'll go to the board game club. And I actually met Rob and learned my first social deduction game, which was Secret Hitler, and just had a great time and met really nice people. And then it's because of Rob that I am now addicted to these social deduction type games. Rob would have game nights on Fridays, and we would do Clocktower. But my first game was online, April 2022. I believe it was like a 9-player game, and I drew the imp token. Had no idea what I was doing. It's all brand new, and we were playing on Skype, and my Skype was actually outdated So it wouldn't let me go into breakout rooms, and I'm just kind of sitting in the main lobby, bluffing soldier. I'm like, yeah, I'm just here. I'm the soldier. Don't really know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm a good player. Don't kill me. And for some reason, we won. I guess people are just stressed at that claim. Not sure that would slide anymore. But yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun playing the game and just kind of interacting and figuring out who's telling the truth, who's lying. Even though I know that I was on the bad team, causing that
Mhm.
misinformation. It's always fun.
Yeah, I had a similar story where my first online game I was an imp, and I was bluffing the monk who was actually the drunk because I tried to protect a player and they died. So clearly I'm the drunk because I was seen in a drunk ping, and similar to you, that wouldn't really fly today. But back in 2020, it was a good play and it worked.
Oh yeah, I feel like back then when you're newer to the game, you kind of can use that as a excuse as to like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, give me that free pass. I think the more that you play and the more people know that you're experienced, I don't think that that's going to slide as much. But each group's
Yeah.
different.
And that's harder to get away with too because so many people who play nowadays have, at least online, have probably seen like No Rolls Barred and all these TPI, all these other channels, hopefully hard claim, seen the game played a lot. They kind of, even if they haven't played, watching it and playing it's two different things. But I do feel like you have a little bit of a leg up if you've watched 100 episodes.
Yeah, I think for me, I was first thrown into Trouble Brewing, and then I found out about board game schedule, and that's where I started playing other games with some other groups, and there were crazy characters like the Lycanthrope and the Exorcist, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I saw all these roles in BMR, and I'm like, oh, everything seems powerful. I don't know what to do, and then it can be very intimidating at first, especially
Yeah.
with the custom script or advanced scripts like BMR, S&V. But like the more you play, you just kind of, it's like a language. You play it, you learn it, and the more you indulge in it, you just kind of understand it. Like, Exorcist, you just pick a player, not obviously not on the first night, but you pick a player, and if they're the demon, they'll wake and find out that the exorcist picked them, and crazy roles like an assassin can just kill anyone. It's just kind of, it's cool that there's all these characters that are uh, evolving and developing, and just this game is has so many opportunities. It's super fun. I love it.
Yeah, my in-person group, we this last month, it's the first month in a while we didn't have anybody that was new joining. So we got to do Bad Moon Rising. I ran it, and for probably about 4 of them, it was their first time playing Bad Moon Rising, and for most everybody else, they'd only played maybe once or twice. So that was a lot of fun because I have seen people get to experience the game while new, quite a bit because you always start with Trouble Brewing. But it's been a long
Yeah.
time since I've seen a group and run Bad Moon Rising for the first time, and having them kind of experience that, and it was a lot of fun. And they're asking questions, trying to figure out, well, what happens if this chooses that in the night, and blah blah blah. And yeah, it's a fun experience to get through, and it does take quite a while. I remember a few years ago we were playing online, and we were just kind of rattling off, oh, this character will do this, blah blah blah, and naming out these possible interactions. And somebody goes, "How do y'all have this all memorized?" And it's just, you played enough, and you just kind of know.
Exactly. Yep.
Would you say that you were hooked on that very first game, or yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a little difficult at first because you just see all these roles and you have to learn what they do. But I don't know, it's just super fun, and the once the tokens go out, it's completely random. So you could have a 9-player game with the same exact tokens, but maybe you move the drunk somewhere else, or the setup is completely different. And a lot of this game is just timing and luck of conversations, and did you get to the right person at the right time to tell them something like not true, or did you have an important conversation where you have good confirmation? And that's the beauty of this game. I mean, I won some games as the demon just by getting some really lucky snipes, and other games I've not been so lucky, and we've had an amnesiac been alive and catch me as a general vigor mortis. But hey, it's all in good fun. So
Yeah, I remember I had somebody kind of compare it somewhat to poker, which there's both a luck element but also a skill element, and I always think it's interesting that this, sometimes you win because you're lucky, and sometimes you work for it and win, and then sometimes you make all the right plays and you lose, and or you make all the wrong plays and win. It's just
yeah.
it's interesting that way. It makes it it's a good balance of that. I think it's a lot of fun.
And what I love about the game the most is, you get a token and it's a new opportunity to figure out how you want to play that role. Like,
Hmm.
sure, I've been the chef so many times, but do I want to just hard claim chef? Do I want to say I'm a top four? Do I want to try and bait a kill? You know, that's what I love about the game is it's so replayable. You can be a role and play it one way, but you can then choose to play it another way, and I love the chaos.
I played in a game yesterday. It was a custom script. I was the gossip, and Mutant was on the script, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to claim to everybody I'm either the gossip or the mutant claiming to be the gossip. Why?
That's
I
amazing.
don't know. It felt fun. It felt
Why not?
enough. Um, somebody joked, oh, you're not being serious, but they were like, oh, you're going to get confirmed, and the storyteller's going to execute you. I'm like, they can't execute me. I'm only the mutant. I'm not the mutant. I'm the mutant pretending to be the gossip. And then I died night two.
Did you get a gossip kill off at least?
Nope. I was a soul kill, and it wouldn't have gone off anyway. It turned out not to be true, but yeah, that's a great thing about this game, that there's no right or wrong way to play a character.
Yep, and I look at it too. It's like, if you lose a game, it's just a learning experience. Like, all right, I lost the game. Maybe I can improve the way I played as the monk or the saint. I mean, there's been many games I've been executed as saints. It's quite sad, but it is what it is, and you just move on and have fun. So
And I usually like to describe the progression going from like a new player to an intermediate player to an experienced player. Do you have any thoughts on the kind of like that progression, like kind of getting to know the game to finally kind of like this it all clicking? I guess is really what we've already been talking about, but I didn't know if you wanted to expand on it anymore or not.
yeah, I mean, at least for me, I've always been huge into games and board games, so I'm the kind of person that I like to watch and see how it works out, and then throw myself into the game and just play it. If I don't understand it, let me play again. I feel like experience only grows the more that you play. I know that there are people who might be a little fearful of playing the game because it's very daunting with all the roles, but I say, hey, like, there are a lot of players who are experienced who are here to try and help. Like, my intention is, yes, I do love to win, but I want to make sure that everyone is having fun and understanding the game. So there have been
Hmm.
games where I've been the demon and I had a player tell me that they were the slayer. I kept them alive because, one, they were no dashi poison, but I also wanted to let them know that, hey, like, you know, I would, if I were you as a good player, I would probably be a little bit more careful about who you tell, because, you know, it's just that's the hard part about the game. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
who can you share information with? But I always want to try and help new players just kind of understand the game and enjoy the game. That's really the gist of it. But for me, I feel like my experience definitely improved over time. I feel like I was pretty rusty, and then the more I played and understood the mechanics of the game, it just kind of felt very natural. So,
Yeah. And how long was it before you played your first in-person game?
ooh, it was probably sometime in April. Not no, not April of 2022. Later in 2022. Don't recall what I was in person, but I know when I have played in person, a lot of the times I've drawn evil tokens. I don't know why. Not a big fan of it, but the wins are definitely more satisfying when you're evil because the odds
Hmm.
are pretty much stacked against you. Just it's simply a numbers game, and especially in TB, there's so much information that can point out towards evil. Empath pings, fortune teller pings, investigator pings. But then you have to remember on top of that, like there's a poisoner, there's a drunk,
Yeah.
people can be lying. So I find Trouble Brewing to be the most fun. Originally, I wanted to do S&V as like my script, but as I thought about it, TB is that one script that you can play over and over again and still be confused on what's going on. Even as an
Yeah.
experienced player, like, is someone telling the truth about being the saint? Like, do I trust this outsider claim, the librarian confirmation? I don't know, but I try and base it off of socials and mechanical. There's that balance of both.
Right.
It's fun.
Yeah. Treble brewing is I've found to be the most consistent experience. There's rare. I mean, I used to term bad game loosely, uh, but there's rarely a bad game of Treble brewing. Sometimes there are. Sometimes just the demon gets Slayer shot day 2, and then the Scarlet Woman's executed the next day. Um, that just happens. But yeah, we did Bad Moon Rising recently, and the Zomble ended up having a bit of a rough time, and then but we've had other Bad Moon Rising games that were great, but they tend to be like kind of one or the other.
Yeah, I've been in two Zombo games as evil. One, I was a Godfather, and we just basically steamrolled and got most of evil to the end. And then recently, I was the goon, and I caught Lynn bluffing lunatic to me, but she told me that she had 4 minions. I was like, oh well, I guess you're in trouble. But if you need a friend, I can always join your team. And I don't know. I mean, we ended up losing that game, but being the goon was definitely a fun time. It's one of those characters that I would love to play again as.
Yeah, I think I've been the goon maybe once, and basically I just like I'm gonna claim lunatic, and hopefully there's not a lunatic in play, and there wasn't. It turned out, and there came a point in time where of course I didn't know who the demon was, but I did turn evil, and there was no deaths that night, and somebody was on block, and they go, so Sam, I have a reason to believe you're the evil goon, and it is in your best interest to nominate somebody else. So I did, and we ended up losing anyway. But it was fun anyway.
That's all that matters. Is did you have a good time in the game?
Yeah, I usually the easiest way for me to not have fun is if somebody's just being an ass.
I hear you. Yeah.
Losing is not unfun to me. I mean, obviously, I prefer to win, but I some of my favorite games have been losses. So
Yeah, same with me. I've had some great games playing as evil and have lost near the end, but if I feel like I played a good game, then it's a personal win, moral win.
yeah, and I'm curious about those. So thinking about in person again, what's your take on the differences between playing online and in person?
Ooh, with in person, it's very interesting because we're all kind of sitting in the circle, and then when we wake up, everyone goes off into like either groups of 2 or groups of 3, and I feel like people are a little bit more coy with what they want to share,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get that feel out of people. Whereas with online, it's just everyone's going into usually a one-on-one conversation and exchanging information, and it's much easier to share those notes. I find myself in-person games having to go back and talk to players that I've talked to previously and just kind of get that reconfirmation and then check in. And it's way more chaotic. I feel like I don't have as much time organizing my thoughts, putting it all together. So I think in person, you really are depending a lot off of social reads, body language, who's contributing. It's similarly to online,
Hmm.
but there have been games where I've been good and have been extremely quiet, which is also pretty normal for me to do when evil. And so I try and think about it like even if a player is quiet or not contributing, it doesn't mean that they are bad, but it can be a good indicator to me that they may be bad. But both are fun. I like the comfort of at home online, um,
Yeah.
but in person is also it's also fun as well. No complaints.
Yeah, I played in person. I run games every month in person, and sometimes I'll just like run two, and then I'll swap out somebody, and then play a third. Last month or the month before, really, I did end up drawing the M token and trying to talk to my minion, and I already knew this, of course, but it was a bit more of an eye opener because we do leave a circle, but everybody stays relatively close. And I'm here trying to convey information to my minion without having anybody else overhear it, and it's really interesting, and it's really how the game was meant to be played. And it's also a big eye opener on how Lunatic works a bit better in person than than online.
Yeah, I feel like lunatic in person. It probably takes them a little bit longer to figure out that they may be the lunatic.
Yeah,
Online, you usually know. Um, you go to one of your apparent supposed minions, and if they don't claim minion, more than likely you're the lunatic. But in person, it can be a little bit tougher just finding that time too. And most of the time, a lot
yeah,
of people are holding on to their scripts. So you're also looking at where their eyes are gazing to and pointing to try and get a feel of what are they claiming. Whereas online, if I'm in a private chat with someone and I see two other players in a private chat, I have no idea what they're going to be discussing. So
yeah. Me and another player have caught two evil players before because they were a bit too obviously looking at the bottom of the script and pointing. So that's definitely part of it too.
that's
Uh,
fun.
so for you, what are the differences between being good and being evil?
Ooh, well, being good is definitely my favorite. Nice and relaxed. Not as much pressure. Um, with being good, I like the puzzling aspect of it. It's I have information, or maybe I don't have information. Let me go talk to someone who may have information. They might not as well, but if I have a role that has information, my first thing is, do I trust the information that I have? Is it reliable? Is it good? If I don't have information, then I'm strictly basing it off of a lot of social reads and other information that I may be hearing. I do like being good because we can connect with other players and kind of put the puzzle pieces together to figure out who is evil. On the flip side, I do enjoy being evil here and there. It has to happen. That's the whole
Yeah,
point of the game is, you can't just be good all the time. Um, I like being able to try and see if I can deceive other players and get away with it, especially since, odds are already stacked against you. Numbers are limited. Maybe if you have a mez that can turn someone, or a bounty hunter that adds a extra evil townsfolk, that's always nice. But the fun aspect of being evil is just causing the chaos. I mean, I've been an out at minion before, and I still like to pretend to be on the good team and help out and solve and cause chaos, because more attention on me means less attention onto my demon. And that's fine with me.
yeah, and I guess playing more evil games also help you. I think being good, because it kind of helps you know what to look out for, and then vice versa. Being good a lot. Kind of. A lot of people will try to kind of act the same way as good or evil, and nobody's perfect at that. But um, yeah, I'm pretty similar to you. I prefer being good, but um, you know, every good guy needs a bad guy. So
Yeah, I mean, listen, once in a while, I do want to be evil. I do like that feeling of okay, I'm bad. Let's cause some chaos. Who's bad with me? Let's go a little crazy and see if we can win. But in general, I would rather draw blue token. Yeah.
yeah. What kind of characters do you like to bluff, whether you're good or evil?
I mean, if we're looking at TB specifically, mm,
TB specifically, or just in general, whichever. TB
I
is a good
like
starting point.
having. I generally like having a kind of passive info role. So, clockmaker, seamstress, artist, kind of those once per game abilities where I have my information. Shugenja, I figure out if evil is clockwise or anti-clockwise. Um, I think those roles actually are extremely powerful.
I
Um,
sorry, that just occurred to me that once you were a traveler apprentice, and it was a custom script, and I purposely gave you just a you start knowing role because I thought you'd appreciate that, and you did.
yes, I believe I was the chef. It was a Leviathan game, and I had a chef one, and I pointed out two potential evil pairs. One of them was Jen and someone else, and the other one I think was Brody and Jeff S. And I think Brody was the demon, but we didn't end up winning. But
Yeah,
it's still fun. I yeah. So if I were going to bluff something, I would probably prefer a passive active info roll. Spent ability, especially if I'm a minion. Yeah, kill me. I'm good. I've done it as imp too. Usually, I'm giving you a little secret, but usually when I'm evil, I kind of am just like, yeah, sure, kill me if you need to rule out a world. Sometimes it works. I don't know.
yeah. Seamstress and artist are good ones because they're pretty easygoing, but you do have some agency as to what you're doing with your ability. Seamstress, you might just blindly use it night one, and there's nothing wrong with that. Or you might wait and see and try to get a read on people and kind of work from there. And of course, artist is pretty much the same way. You could use it day one, or you could wait as long as possible. So yeah, those are both good characters. Good
Exactly. Yeah.
character design.
I like roles like that get information about other players, and even Clockmaker doesn't necessarily have information about other players directly, but if let's say you have a Clockmaker 3, then I can just look at who's chatting, right? I can
Hmm.
use that starting information and look at private whispers and see, oh, okay, they're 3 away. Maybe that's evil pair. Maybe my information is sober and not evil pair, but 3 away evil team. Um, I like roles that have some information, and then I'm spent.
And so, since we're talking about some S&V characters, how do you feel about Madness as a mechanic in this game? Mutant, Ceranovus, I guess also Pixie and Harpy, but Mutant and Ceranovus, I think, are probably the main examples.
Yeah, I think that they're fun elements to the game. I think that I don't mind being Ceranovus mad. I have no issue kind of switching over to what I need to then bluff as for purposes of madness, but also depending on my role. If I am a spent clockmaker and I'm Ceranovus mad as something else, um, I might break madness just to out that there's a Ceranovus. Who knows if I'll be executed? But I also might be cautious about outing too if there's a juggler in place so that they can then get their information. So, a lot of it depends on what I'm mad as. Does it make sense to break madness? I think Pixie's also a great role. You get confirmation about another player, mostly confirmation, unless you're poisoned or drunk or
Spy,
Leechos or the spy, right?
right?
I
Yeah,
mean, uh, you can never truly confirm that your information is good until really the end of the game. That's, you might have an empath 0 and both your neighbors are saying they're good, and you trust it, and then at the end of the game, you find out that one of them is really the spy, and it's been registering off, spy zero. So,
At a game very much like that, except my Impasse Zero was on a minion and a demon, and I was poisoned.
oh.
I lost that game.
I do recall. I think we played one game together, Sam, where you were an empath stuck between two evils, and I was a Scarlet Woman, and I think
Maybe that was the
maybe
same
that
game. I don't know.
was in the game, but I don't know. Long time ago.
Yeah,
I've played so many games. It's some I remember, other ones I've kind of lost track of. But
yeah, yeah. There's a kind of game you tend to remember memories of specific moments. Uh,
absolutely,
yeah, and we were kind of talking about losses being fun. Granted, I was a storyteller, not the player experiencing a loss, but my most memorable games I remember running were the ones that a psychopath accidentally kills their demon on day one. We've had two of those so far.
we love it. We love a quick little re-rack.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as with the other Madness characters too, mutants, I have no issues with it. Harpy, I feel like it's an okay minion. Personally, I think people already throw shade at other people and accuse them of being evil without any information. So Harpy's one of those minions that I feel like anyone could just pretend to be Harpy mad about someone else. But Madness is fine. I have no issue with it. I think
Yeah.
it's a fun element to the game that it spices it up. It definitely spices the game up where you have those options to either stick to what you are or break madness. I've been a pixie before confirming a player, and I just outed that I was the pixie. I'm like, I don't care to get this other ability. I'll confirm this other player, and sometimes that works as well. I don't
Hmm.
think there's any wrong way to play a role. It's up to each player, and then you can get the pixie again the next game, and then do what you want with that.
Right. I I was thinking of a pixie game where I was a pixie who saw fortune teller, and of course, I was going around her claiming fortune teller, and I don't know why they did this, but the actual fortune teller was very confused why I was also claiming fortune teller, but they still told me what information they were getting. So then I would just go around sharing that information.
Yeah.
It was great. I wasn't even technically spreading misinformation then at that point. Yeah.
So that's nice that the fortune teller trusted that you were good there.
Right. They were very
Because
confused.
yeah, evil could easily bluff Pixie. I think that's a great bluff.
Yeah.
Just pick any role, and if it's in play, you just say, "Oh well, that person's my Pixie, or I was the Pixie." It's a pretty easy bluff for evil.
Yeah. All right. We do like discussing some divisive characters. So the first one we like to go with is Snake Charmer. How do you feel about that?
Ooh, super super strong role. Uh, I will probably, if I grab Snake Charmer, I'll probably Snake Charm maybe one or two people. Hope to God I don't get the demon, but if it happens, it hasn't happened to me yet. I'm gonna knock on wood that that doesn't happen. But it is extremely strong information. I mean, unless you're no Dashi poison, then
Right.
that's kind of unfortunate. But you're clearing out worlds of who the demon is. However, in S&V, you've got roles like the barber where maybe you cleared one of the minions and then a barber swap happened and the demon and minions now swapped and your person that you cleared is no longer really cleared. They could be the demon. So
Yeah.
it's a strong role, but you have to be willing to risk losing if you get caught or winning somehow if you're lucky enough to then find a bluff that's not in play that also is not one of the three demon bluffs and have people trust you. I don't know if I could do that, but
Have you been on the evil team where the Snake Charmers hit your demon?
um I don't think that's happened to me yet. No. And I don't
Okay.
think that I've ever been snake charmed as demon yet either. Although I have no issues with that happening. So, any snake
I,
charmers, feel free to check me.
there was a time I was snake charmed, and then I died in the night, and somebody else died in the night. I don't remember how the deaths happened or how my death happened, but the other player I trusted, and what I didn't really think about was I had been the Fengu, and the person who also died in the night was the snake charmer who snake charmed me and became the Fengu, and then hit an outsider. so I'm here telling them that I am, I was the demon. I'm trying to kind of keep it under wraps and not just out it immediately. They're like, well, oh wow, well, the snake charmer hit. Oh wow, yeah,
That's
it's
what
a
I love. It's
character.
just chaos like that. That's the one thing about S&V that I really enjoy is yes, there is so much information, and usually you can kind of tell early on what demon it is, but um, a successful witch curse could really damage the good team. Or a barber swap in the night could really mess up information. If you have a no dashi in the game with the barber and then you swap around the barber around, then the poison can spread somewhere else. You switch the demon token with one of your minions, and they can spread the poison. It's like, well, is it now a Vortox? And then a snake charming happens. So the chaos of SMV is great, but I do find that generally it can be solved rather quickly if you put the pieces of the puzzle together in time. I guess like with any game, right?
Yeah, yeah. SMB focuses on high information, but reasons why it can be wrong or outdated, and
Exactly. Just like
just
an
like
evil twin. Evil twin also kind of misconstrues information. You know, is that person the evil twin with the correct clockmaker number, or is that person the uh, sorry, are they the good twin with the correct clockmaker number, or is that person the good twin with the correct clockmaker number, or is that person sitting next to Nodashi? Are we in the Vortox game? So a lot of chaos, but lots of information. It's a matter of puzzling that information together.
yeah. All right, next character on the list. How do you feel about Poppy Grower?
Ooh, Poppy Grower is definitely fun. I actually really enjoy being characters like the Poppy Grower or the Damsel, just because I know it's a high risk kind of player,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of like a little bit of that pressure. I know I'm on the good team, but I want to see how can I find a way to, if I'm the Poppy Grower, how can I find a way to convince people that I am just maybe like a passive role that's not worth killing, or maybe I'm the sage, so killing me is risky. So I might, if I'm Poppy Grower, I might say that I am the chef or the farmer, something like that. So yeah, go ahead, kill me. You waste a kill on a chef, or go ahead, kill me. Let's have some confirmation. Maybe I'll even throw in like a fortune teller in there just to bait them too and see.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, Poppy Grower is definitely one of those roles. It's super strong for the good team. Not so fun when you're on the evil team, not knowing
Well,
your
that
team.
that was going to be my next question. Is about being evil on that.
Yeah, yeah, not as much fun when you're on the evil team with the Poppy Grower. I mean, unless you have a snitch, it does give you a little bit of cover, so you get some bluffs from the snitch's ability. Um, I always hope that if I am evil and I'm not the demon, that my uh, demon is a vigor mortis, so that I can die in the night, pretend that I was good, poison a neighbor, and still have whatever minion ability.
Yeah.
But yeah, Poppy Growers is it's fun.
All right. And the next character on the list. How do you feel about Heretic?
Heretic is cool. I think initially I wasn't a fan of the Heretic because I feel like the whole purpose of this game is to kill the demon or have the demon kill everyone else. So now you're adding a character that switches that outcome. But the fun part about the Heretic is there actually a heretic in the game? it leaves the good team wondering if they need to off themselves. Do we really trust this player? But it also leaves the evil team wondering, do we need to kill ourselves? So I think it's one of those characters that can work in certain scripts, and I think that it is one that can be fun to play as or have in the game. I don't really have too much of a big issue with the Heretic. I mean, I love most of the characters in Clocktower. They have a purpose. I probably would say my least favorite would be like the Atheist, but as far as Heretic, yeah, it's good. It's chill. It adds like an extra puzzle within the puzzle. So.
Yeah. Well, on that note, the next character on my list is Atheist.
I'm right ahead of the game, Sam. So, yeah, I would say similarly. I feel like Clocktower is one of those games that's designed to split people up into teams and solve either who's bad or have the bad team kill off the good ones. I think Atheist could be fun here and there if it's been like two long games and we have time for a third game and we kind of want to keep it fun and lighthearted. An Atheist game can be fun. And I think those games are not really designed for those players to lose, but it's more so like, hey, there's weird, chaotic stuff going on. Like, do we think that that person is a pit hag that is changing things, or is it really just the storyteller causing shenanigans? I don't mind Atheists. Don't love it, but I will play a game with any character on the script. You just have to be adaptable. That's how I feel about Clocktower. It's one of those games
I agree
where
with that. Yeah.
you just adapt, and even having an atheist on the script and not in play is is useful, and it's fun because evil sometimes can tend to bluff that there's an atheist in play. So
Hmm.
it being on the script makes you then maybe doubt if your information is good or if you're being messed with. So, or even a drunk atheist too. That's always fun, and it's just really
Right.
and some minions.
Yeah, I did. I don't run Atheist very often. I did run it a few weeks ago, and it was basically that third game scenario where the second game ended pretty quick. In fact, that was one of the psychopath accidentally kills their demon because of a night one snake charming. In that case,
Yeah,
they were very surprised. But third game was like, you know what, we'll run Atheist, and then we chat. My Twitch chat gave me an idea to have an amnesiac ability. Each night. I think you were in the Twitch chat, so you're helping me
yeah,
out. You were one of the ones helping me out with this. It was, each night choose a player. They become a character of the storyteller and chat's choice. Um, so one player draws a token. Amnesiac chooses them, so we turn them into another character, and then then oh, they got turned into a different character for a different reason. Then they got turned into a different character again for the amnesiac. They loved it so much.
what matters most is, did all the players have a good time, and if so, then you know that the game was successful, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I know that storytellers intentions are to bring the game down to a final three, which is obviously the most fun because it's like, okay, who is the demon? But for me, when I play a game, what matters most is the group of people that I'm playing with. Are they respectful? Are they chill? And are we all just here to have a good time and play a game where we have fun? And if you win, you win. You lose, and we move on.
My three main principles in this order, they're all very closely related, but not all quite the same. Number one is fun. Number two is fair. And number three is balance.
Yes, balance is definitely important. I feel like storytellers have a very difficult can have a very difficult time in trying to figure out, like, okay, let's say there's a player that's poisoned. Should I actually give this player good information because the good team is so far behind, or do I string them along because other players are already kind of pushing on towards the demon? So maybe evil has a majority, but if the storyteller believes that the good team is on their way, maybe they will then lie to them. So balance, yeah, balance is definitely important. Even maybe with a little monster, you can't only just kill exclusively good players. At certain times, you will have to kill an evil player to keep it balanced. So um,
Actually,
that's
surprisingly,
all you
very
see out
controversial. I mostly agree, but it's actually very controversial for some people. But yeah, that's a whole other discussion that could be had.
there. Yeah, and that's funny because
But
Lil Monster is actually one of my favorite demons. I
oh,
like
good.
the yeah,
I plan on bringing it up later. So,
awesome.
um, yeah, fairness I think is important too. Balance. I do place balance third. I mean, if we're talking about importance, I'm talking about they're all like this close together. You know,
Right,
but
we're on the same level.
yeah, but there are some things where I don't want to do things that would help the good team just for the sake of helping the good team sometimes, because then it feels like I'm punishing the evil team for playing well.
Right.
So that's something I usually try to keep in mind too. So, um, yeah. All right, one more character for this section. How do you feel about Legion?
I think I've played two Legion games before. I don't have much experience with Legion. It's crazy because I've played so many games, but not many as Legion. And I think one game I was Legion and we won. But what I like about Legion is I'm not alone. Like if I'm evil, I'm not alone. I've got a group of other people with me to try and cause some misinformation to get the good team to not trust their own players. And I like the aspect of coordination with Legion.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to connect with your other legion and figure out what their bluffs are and make sure that there's not a lot of double claiming. I think a double claim here and there is fine because then you can just sell one of them out as a minion and one of them as being the good player. Um, but Legion requires a lot of precise coordination. Um, and on the flip side, when you're on the good team, it's oh my god, who can I trust? Because most of these people are bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've been good in a Legion game yet, but I have no issues playing in a Legion game. Um, I think if I were in a Legion game, I probably would prefer to be good, um, just because the odds are already kind of stacked against me there, number wise. But it's that puzzling aspect of who can I trust and who's bad. Let's get them out and try and win the game.
We we've talked to Lynn before, and uh, so for whatever reason, she tends to draw red tokens in my games more than blue tokens. But if
Yeah.
it's Legion, it's the other way around. She won't draw a red token; she'll draw a blue token.
Exclusively blue. I've noticed that as well.
All right, for this next section, we have this or that, and I'll
Cool.
just name off two characters, and you can say whatever you want in response.
Love it.
So let's start with a Dreamer or Empath.
I like empath. Um, Dreamer, it's just too much ongoing information for me to track. Yes, I could dream about someone from across the grim, but I'd rather have a vibe of my neighbors. If I have a zero, I'm just going to hopefully trust that they're both good. I might hard claim to one player that I'm the empath, and then maybe someone else I can say that I am a washerwoman that is confirming maybe one of my neighbors. If I have an empath one, I might bluff as a saint. I might bluff as investigator with a ping or a fortune teller ping. I might just make up misinformation just to get one of my neighbors executed during the day. But I like that aspect of getting reads off of people that are close to me. Um, because one, online I can just whisper. Um, with Dreamer, it's a lot of just it is strong. It is a strong role,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I just don't really like to be tracking a lot of information. It's a lot of ongoing info roles can be difficult to track.
It's fair. Yeah, Empath is probably a top 5 townsfolk for me. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoy Empath.
Yeah. All right. Mayor or gossip?
Um, ooh, I don't think I've ever been the gossip. Um, Gossip is good because you do get information. Mare's more of those passive abilities. Not really a huge fan of because I feel like people don't trust me when I have no information. So with that role, I just have to go out of my way to try and prove to others that I'm good. So I'll ask, what are your thoughts on this player? What's your information? I'll probably just hard claim mayor because, and if town needs to execute me, I don't mind um, being executed to just prove that I'm good. So mayor's fine. Gossip, it I've never been, which is quite crazy because I've played so many BMR games and games with custom scripts. It's not a role that I've drawn, but I do like to make pretend gossips anyways to cover for a gossip.
Right.
But I would be happy being a gossip. I probably would pick gossip over mayor.
All right. How about mutant or lunatic?
Ooh, never been the mutant either. I've been lunatic, so I probably would pick. Well, I would want to draw the mutant token because when you're the lunatic, you see a demon token, and you're like, "Oh crap! Like I'm evil." Um, but when you find out you're a lunatic, it's a lot less stressful. So if I probably would prefer lunatic over mutant, but drawing a token that's a demon is a little bit scary. Um, what I like about lunatic is you do actually get a lot of strong information. Um, you're shown a demon token, so you already have an idea of, if you are confirmed to be a lunatic, right? You have some idea of what the demon could be, and you're already learning three names of potential minions. More than likely, one of them is. It is possible that all three are not. But you also get to pick players in the night to die. And if the demon doesn't follow your kills, you still get information. So I like that aspect of learning stuff about other players and making those choices. Mutant, you can just bluff anything. If it's an S&V game and I'm the mutant, I probably won't mind dying first in case of a Fangu. I
Fair enough.
probably bluff like a spent clockmaker or um, seamstress that's used their ability.
All right. All right. Next on the list, we got barber or recluse.
Recluse,
Like
recluse for
recluse.
sure. Uh, there's so much pressure being the barber. Because if I die, I'm partly a reason why evil could be mixing up the game. With recluse, I just exist. That's how I feel. Yes, I can register as evil, but it's up to the other good players to trust that I am being genuine in me saying, I am an outsider, I am the recluse. Don't mind dying today to rule out worlds. If there's an undertaker, you'll probably learn something evil about me, but I'm not evil, although that is something an evil player can also do. So I probably would still pick recluse over barber.
All right. Next up, we got Sarah Novus or Boom Dandy.
Boom dandy. Yeah, boom dandy for sure. Cernobus is fun, but you really have to be mindful of what's happening in the game and figuring out who you want to frame to make them look suspicious. With Boom Dandy, go ahead, kill me. It will go down to a final three, and we can pick, and then we can just play again. So they both are fun. I do like the elements of madness where you can choose someone to be maddest something else, like let's say that a snake charming just happened, you can Serenova someone to come out as the snake charmer. So then try and frame them as the demon. Or if you're lucky, you can Serenova someone to be an outsider. And if they're the mutant, they're pretty much screwed. So um, I don't know if I've been Boom Dandy, but I have been the Serenovis. And I believe there's one game I played where I think I was just making everyone mad as the town crier because why not?
Right.
They can throw suspicion on, hey, this person nominated their minion. They're both good. They're both fun roles, but I would probably lean more towards Boom Dandy.
Right. Next up, we got Poisoner or Summoner.
Mm. Ooh, both are fun. I've never been the summoner, so it's probably one that I would like to be. I
Yeah.
like that summoner gets 3 bluffs, and so if I already have something to start with, great. No one's double claiming me. I can throw out some misinformation, and as long as I can survive for 2 full days, then I can summon whoever I want to be on my team. Uh, Poisoner is also fun. I mean, on the first night, you're kind of shooting in the dark. If you
Mm-hmm.
have a spy, then you can coordinate some good poisons. But I like roles that there's some thought, but not too much thought. Poisoner, you're simply okay. Let's pick a player. Let's hope that what we're doing is going to cause their information to be wrong, or let's say you snipe a soldier or you snipe a monk or a mayor. That monk protection's not going to work. That soldier could die.
Yeah.
The mayor could just be, killed right away. I would love to do a poison on a saint and get them executed. That would be just amazing to see.
It's not good
Um,
for evil, but I still want to see it one day.
right, just once, just once. And Poison Slayer is awesome. I remember
Mm-hmm.
playing an in-person game where I was the demon, and Slayer took their shot and shot it at me, and I'm like, oh no, we're gonna lose. And then the storyteller said, and nothing happens. And I go, all right, well, that's just proof that I'm good, right? Clearly, I can't be evil. So a, a, a a good poison really can change the game.
Yeah. All right. Next, we got Oho or Poe.
Poe, yeah, I like that mass carnage of I can do a single kill or I can charge and then try and kill 3 players. A lot depends on what's in play, what's on the script. So if we're looking strictly at BMR, there is some cover to do a Poe charge. If there was an exorcist that picked someone else and there was no deaths, and you can try and frame that person as being the demon, and then the next night there's 3 deaths. I don't think I've played as Oho either, but I find it interesting. I like that with Oho you aren't selecting players, but you're choosing certain roles that you want to be
Mm-hmm.
out of play. So do you want to just go for a Raven Keeper right off the bat and be risky and make them think it's not an Oho game, or are you going to try and kill a monk, or are you going to kill a chef so that players think, oh, maybe it's a Puka game and the chef was poisoned on the first night? Uh, a lot depends on the script and who's on your team too, and what you feel. I think a lot of it depends on what's in play for me, but I lean more towards Poe, but I don't mind being the Oho maybe one time. Not normally, preferred obviously.
Right.
But this is the kind of game where the only way you get better is by having experience with each role.
Yeah. All right. Final one, and we said it was going to come up. Lil Monster or Al Hadikia.
Lil Monster.
what,
I
do, what do you
love
like about Lil Monster?
Okay, well, you have an extra minion, which is great, and I like the fact that the minions are meeting in the night to come together to decide who should watch over the little monster uh, token, the demon, um, and then it's like, who is a storyteller going to kill to help for balance purposes? I just like that you might, let's say there's a fortune teller, they can get a yes ping on me and someone else, and they think I'm the demon, and then they execute me. It's like, well, too bad. I not holding the little monsters. You're gonna have to try again another day. I just like how it can move around. That's the element of it moving, and you do have an extra minion which can hurt town as well. And Alhadikia can be fun. Um, I like the element of, if you're chosen, do you want to live or do you want to die? And your
Hmm.
decision can impact everyone else's. So, obviously a Raven Keeper is happy to die. A monk, probably not. A slayer, not so much. And, in Al Hadikia, I think part of their strategy too is to maybe choose a minion or choose themselves to throw suspicion that it's not them. But I probably would still pick Lil Monster.
Fair
Even though
enough.
the powers, like, I don't have that control of who dies. It's up to the storyteller. I just like the fact that we can move the demon around.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a trade off, and not everybody I know likes that trade off, but it makes it pretty interesting at least. So,
Yep.
yeah. All right, one final question. So, looking at the script Trouble Brewing, which of these characters would you like to be in real life?
Oh, I'm not much of a politician, but I think it would be cool to be a mayor. Like, have people respect you. Uh, just go up to you and be like, "Hey, we love what you're doing for our town. We trust you." So maybe mayor. If I had to pick a second one, I would pick chef.
All right.
I'm not one that cooks or enjoys cooking, but it's something that I would love to learn to do. So yeah, chef or mayor, nothing evil. I'm all about being good.
All right. Uh, yeah, and thankfully nobody, nobody ever disrespects politicians, right?
No, no, no. We're all good.
All right. Well, Josh, thank you for joining us this week.
Thanks for having me, Sam. It's been fun. I hope
Absolutely.
everyone plays Clocktower. If you're new to the game, keep playing. It's fun. Come
Yeah,
join us. We're a very inclusive group, and we want you to have fun.
absolutely. All right. Well, thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week.